welcome.
Excuse me. Is there mics?
Can you hear me?
No.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
So, we have pretty good agenda today. Our moderator Geeta is coming in a few minutes. She's going to moderate this panel. As you, some of you know, probably she's our advisor as well for the meetup. And Pillsbury lawyer Justin Hobie is going to give us some nuggets for entrepreneurs talk, about 5 to 7 minutes, end of a discussion here. And then we'll have some time after the meetup, after the panel discussion for networking. This is the problem. I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do this here. This is the problem I had last time. So here's our meetup schedule for the year. For May meetup is supposed to be in Palo Alto, but as some of you remember, we've been talking about doing some events with other groups are interested in similar subject matter. So we might do this May meetup with a group called Perisoma. They're doing a demo day, and we might do this. The only thing that they're located in San Francisco. So no decision is made yet. We are discussing, but I'm just letting you know that this event maybe and might be in San Francisco. Thank you, our volunteers and sponsors. Let's give applause for our volunteers and. So, we all do IT, right? Still, what is the problem? There's no IT when you're going to the check into a emergency room or something. I just want to see why that's still happening. Why we are still not connected. And one day there might be one pill that's loaded with everything, so we don't have to take, so many pills for so many things. So with this, we'll have an announcement. You're going to load your files right now, probably. And any group announcement? Anybody has any announcements for events, hiring people? Anybody got funding? Anything?
Anybody got fired?
I'm looking for money.
Okay. You want to say anything?
No.
Okay, for money. Okay, good. Okay, you want to come here?
Sure, thank you.
So this is Justin Hovey. You can.
I'll maybe try with the mic or without. Hi, my name is Justin Hovey. I'm a partner here at Pillsbury. I do a lot of work with startup companies, and I thought I would offer you some nuggets of advice, I'll just use that, for entrepreneurs that are thinking about starting a company or have started a company. I'm not going to talk about legal stuff because that's just profoundly boring, believe me. Okay? This is really meant to be like nice crystallized advice to you, and hopefully it'll resonate with you. Although if you're like many of my clients, you'll just disregard everything I tell you. So here are the 5 nuggets. 1, be religious about your equity. I'll go into each of these. Be religious about your equity. Protect your IP. Avoid tattoos. And that doesn't mean tattoos on your body. That's for someone else to advise you on. I'm talking about legal tattoos. Resolve all disputes that you have and keep things simple. So let me drill down on these. On your equity, the one thing you need to be clear about if you're starting a company is to have absolute crystal clear records. You can't mess it up. When you're dealing with your equity, don't talk fast and loose. Don't send out random emails and pick up Winklevoss twin problem. Don't talk in percentages. Oh, I'll give you 5%. 5% of what? You don't know what that is. It could be a percentage of anything. Only talk in exact share amounts. Let me just pause here. If you're dealing with your equity, your spider senses should tingle. Call your lawyer to make sure you're doing it right. You don't know how to do it. It's not rocket science, but it's nuanced. You don't want to mess this part up. Here's something I find a lot of my startup clients doing. Resist the urge to use equity as currency for commercial deals. I have a lot of health tech clients that have wireframed out some app. They're going to put it on iOS, but they don't know how to develop it, so they outsource the work to a developer. They got zero cash, so guess what they do? I'll give you 5% of the company. And I'll give it to you if you hit this milestone, I'll give you this percent, this milestone, this percent, and there's inevitably a dispute, which will be the subject of a later slide. You are creating a problem. Cap table problems will kill deals. If your goal in life is to get acquired, okay, and to have some FU money and sit around and watch reruns of Oprah, okay, that's your goal, then don't mess up your cap table, because I do so much M&A that I can tell you the one thing that will kill a deal is if you have lack of clarity on your cap table. A couple side notes. Avoid the noise of crowd-funded financings. Really bad idea, okay? They sound sexy, they're not. And finally, it's not really related to this, but just incorporate in Delaware. And for those of you that are trying to seek financing now, I suggest you talk to people in the pharmaceutical industry here and get some Ativan, because it's a painful process. Protecting your IP. Anyone who touches your IP has to sign an agreement. Employees, consultants, advisors. See this bottom one? Hackathons cause IP headaches. There might be some people here that do hackathons. I call those hackathon hangovers. If people create projects, turn the lights on, the roaches run out of the room, who owns this stuff? Okay, so be aware of that at hackathons. Read the fine print when you're outsourcing your IP to someone, one of these developers. You know what it's going to say? It says, you own the IP after you pay me everything that's due. Okay, well what does that mean? What if there's some dispute? Now they can hold you hostage. So be really careful about those. The next point is, and I do a lot of work for big companies, big evil companies. Okay, and we draft agreements that we have people to sign. Take my word for it, you should be scared of those agreements. Okay? And you should be especially scared insofar as the IP provisions are involved. So pick your fights on those, and if there's one thing you're going to do with a big company, those are the fights to have. Everything else you're probably going to have to K1. Avoid tattoos. What do I mean by a tattoo? Long-term perpetual deals, exclusive licenses, agreements where you're not going to, you're doing a deal with someone and they say, great, I want to work with you, but you can't work for my competitors for a couple of years. You got to be wary of these kind of provisions. Rev share is another classic. I'm going to give you 5% of a rev share because I don't want to give you my equity and I don't have any cash to give you. Here's what you have to ask yourself. I'm okay with this. I'm okay not competing with these people. I'm okay with the rev share. But what about the person acquiring you? Are they going to be okay with that? So everything you do, you should view through the prism of being acquired. What would an acquirer think about this? Okay? And guess what investors think about? Investors think about what acquirers think about. So if they see these things, guess what? You're not going to get any money from them until you take care of it. And you try to go and fix these things or terminate them after the fact when you're in the point of getting acquired, guess what the person that you're asking that to is going to say? They're going to be very happy. Give me a lot of money. Or no. Right? So try to avoid these things. If you can't, there's ways to nuance them. Nothing's binary. But just be aware that you're doing it when you're doing it. Disputes. Disputes happen all the time for my startup clients. They come from employees, contractors, especially contractors. Milestone-based projects are the worst. Because, here's what I want. It's in my brain. Create what I want. And they're thinking, well, I don't know what it is you want, but let's just go ahead. And you go further and further down, and there's just a dispute. Shareholders and founders also have typically have disputes. First thing to note, you have no money, so you're not going to win, ever. You don't have money to pay a lawyer to go argue in front of some judge with a wig on, saying, here's the email. This proves that I'm right. You don't even have the money to get to that forum. So you've already lost with the dispute, okay? The next thing you have to understand is this hurts about what I'm about to say. You don't have monopoly on the truth, okay? okay? Your version of reality is very true to you, but they have their own version of reality. And guess what? In every dispute, everyone has facts and emails that they can use to support their version of reality. You have to understand that. So what do? Take the high ground. Act professionally. Don't go to the lowest common denominator and send out the nasty grand email. If you need to do that, send it to me. Just send it out. Send it to your lawyer, and I'll say, okay, you feel better now? Okay, don't send it to them. Always act professionally. You'll never regret that. Okay? If you're having a hard time bridging the resolution with the person, go to a third-party advisor that you both trust and have them broker a deal. Okay? But the key is you have to resolve it. If you take the ostrich approach and try to ignore it, if you're dealing with the Winklevoss twins, or you're dealing with someone who claims they have a rev share, and you say, well, I don't care, I'm going to go bankrupt, so what do I care? Well, again, when things are going well and you're going to get an investment or acquired, you go back to them and say, I know you think you own 30% of the company, but I'm about to be acquired. Can you just say that you don't own anything? And my guess is you could probably figure out what the answer to that one's going to be. Finally, keep things simple. This is really hard. It's really hard. In my experience, the size of the deals is typically inversely proportional to the complexity of the deals. You do deals for like $3 billion, guess what it says? I'm going to buy your shares for $38 a share. There you go. That's what it says. You do a deal for $300,000, the person wants to just make it complicated. I don't know, it's just something, part of being a human being. You're trying to compensate for doing something small, you want to make it more important. So you do earn-outs and these rev shares. All that stuff is really easy to talk about. Oh yeah, we'll do an earn-out. It'll be based on this. And then when you drill down, it's not that easy to draft. Read, it's expensive to draft. It's not, so you've got to keep things simple. And the final thing is no one has a crystal ball. So if you try to make things complicated, it's always going to have unintended consequences. You're going to pivot, you're going to do other things, and now you have this obligation on paper that doesn't map to your reality. And then we go back up to the slide before this, which is a dispute, which you want to avoid. So those are the kind of things, those are the 5 nuggets of advice. I will say if you're out there raising money, what I tell my clients is if you're operating your business, make sure you're wearing your rose-colored glasses, right? You're going to save the world. But when you're raising money, put on your sunglasses, because it is the world of have and have-nots. And I think when you're following your Twitter feed and you're seeing all these major raises by these companies, there's a natural inclination to align yourself. Oh, if they're getting it, I'm going to get it. Believe me, and take comfort in this, you're in a good company with a lot of companies that are struggling to raise money right now. If you are going to try to raise money, remember, raising money is not easily multitasked with operating your business. 2 totally different skill sets. So if you have multiple founders, make one founder in charge of that. Okay? Let them take the brunt and all the misery. You focus on the business. Okay? Be there as a sounding board and all that. But prepare yourself for disappointment. Okay? So anything that happens is good news. So the bad news doesn't follow you back in with your co-founders and follow you back into your personal relationships. And just know if you keep plugging through, you will get money eventually. I can tell you that. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for letting me talk to you.
Please take a seat, all the panelists. And Rhonda and Louis, our programming team, arranged this meeting. Really nice meeting for us. So Louis is going to introduce the panel.
So I can try to.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Let's get started here. Apologize for the little delay while we get the slide materials in here. My name is Geeta Rao. I don't know if Pranay had a chance to introduce all of us. Or... Okay, good. So,
Sorry about the delay, everybody. Thanks. That's okay. I don't need a microphone. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. This is a great turnout. As I said, if any of you were here last month in Palo Alto, I said that I'd look over everybody's suggestions, and this meetup is definitely an outshoot of those suggestions. I just wanted to briefly give some context to what we're going to be talking about tonight from a real-world perspective. My very short career as a doctor, I really was a lot of problems in terms of patient care. It boils down to the pharmaceuticals that we administer. I just wanted to go over some just basic facts about the problems that are inherent in giving prescription medicine. Let's see. So I first like to say, gone are the days of take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Doctors don't get paid for phone calls. They don't really want to talk. I'm just joking there. In terms of, there are about 4 billion prescriptions written in 2010. That's the last year I can find data. Over 24,000 prescriptions and over-the-counter drugs are available today.